Well, I won't hang now. No, I won't lay down. You can stand me up at the gates of hell, but I won't lay down. No, I stand my ground. I won't be turned, won't be turned around. And I keep this whole world from dragging me down. Gonna stay my ground, and I won't back down. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. Hey, I will stay my ground, and I won't lay down. Well, I know what's right, and I only got just this one life in the world that keeps on pushing me around. I will stay my ground. Hey, baby, there ain't no easy way out. I will stay my ground, and I won't lay down. Well, welcome to the Let's Be Brave live show. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. So my name is Bradford Loomis, if you didn't know. We got a lot going on this week, and we got a lot going on this month. It's been kind of crazy. I got off the road and done with my final shows of the final tour. Made up 207 shows for the year, and which is crazy in and of itself. By far more shows than I've ever played. And so we're kind of settling into Nashville here, and it's been a blast. It's been really cool, but we're maybe somewhat impetuously decided to record a Christmas record, and so we're putting all that together, and I'm excited to show that to you. We recorded it last week when I was up in Washington, and so I promised that I would reveal the name of the new album, the Christmas album, on this show tonight. And so I'm also going to debut one more song. So if you were tuning in last week, you saw that Go Tell It on the Mountain is the first song. And so the next song that I'm going to release or let you know what the name is Silent Night. So Silent Night's another song featured on the album. And the album is going to be called Wintering Heart. And I was pretty stoked about that because Christmas is an interesting time for a lot of people. It's magical and nostalgic and wonderful. But for many, it's also a reminder of loved ones that have passed and being away from their loved ones or that separation. So it's heavy for some and it's light for others, and it's kind of a mixed bag. And so I felt like Wintering Heart kind of encompassed a variety of things. And it just dawned on me as I'm watching the live stream that this beautiful lady is sitting here, and I'm not sure that everyone knows who she is, but this is my wife, Kimberly.
Hi, everybody.
Awkwardly sitting really close, but luckily we're married. So, hey guys.
Hi, everybody.
To answer Angela's question, we because I'm doing it such short notice, the target is December 1st, but there's a slight possibility I won't have it then. So I'm saying December 1st, but kind of hedging my bets in case, because the biggest thing is I want it to sound awesome. And so that's the biggest thing. So right now we're shooting for December 1st. So we'll see what happens. But December 1st. How's that for an answer?
Yay! Hi, Angela and Danielle. I will be single for you, but only you.
Nice. Chopped liver. So I also wanted to talk about the record. So the name of the album is Wintering Heart. Silent Night will be featured on it. Go Tell It on the Mountain will be featured on it. And we're doing a special Christmas show tomorrow night, same time, 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time or 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, to try to raise money for the record. And it's a way of... So what I was doing was if you pay $10, it gets you a copy of the record, and you can stream the show.
It's an actual concert.
Yeah.
A Christmas concert.
Yep. I'll be playing some Christmas slow jams, some of my favorite versions of Christmas songs, and yeah.
I love you, Doug.
Yes, I will live stream that as well.
Yeah.
And so
it'll be one of these.
Yeah.
But without this. Sorry.
I'm gonna have her do all the beatboxing.
Yes. I'm good at that.
That will make sure no one watches. Okay, so one other thing.
I asked people if they had questions, they could just unplug it. Sorry. This is nerve-wracking. I'm afraid I'm going to say something stupid because it's live.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was one thing that we're doing that's a little bit different is we are got off the road, so I'm in Nashville until mid-January, and so one of the things we want to do this next coming year is create a lot more music. Nashville is kind of the songwriting capital, and so I've been writing a lot of music, and I'll be writing a whole bunch more. And so we wanted to make sure that being on the road's really taxing, but it's one of the most surefire ways to make a living as a musician. And so I want to be creating more music, more writing, and I figure if I make a way for you guys to sponsor the songwriting, you'll get more music that you like, and I'll be able to do it because I'll be able to afford it. So we came up with this. This is the BradfordLoomis.com/patronage. It's our Patreon program that allows you to get your hands on more music. I'll be releasing a new song every single month. And I wanted to say there's just a few days left in this month. So you have a couple more days to sign up. And if you just go to my website, it says Be a Patron, BradfordLoomis.com. You can sign up, and there's still time to get access to the new video and the new song And the patrons are the only ones that get the song. So it's kind of an exclusive deal. Exclusive. Very much is an exclusive deal. So if you guys have any questions, feel free throughout the show to shoot us a message. Just in the comments here, you can just ask a question, and we'll do our best to answer all of them.
Yeah, anything. Like, boxers or briefs, that kind of thing.
You're weird.
I'm drinking my water.
We're married.
Marriage.
So, many of you may know that we're married. We, on this new album, Bravery in the Bell, Kimberly co-wrote a couple songs with me. And we've been getting into writing songs together a bit more. And that's been awesome. Frankly, it's really cool to be creative with your spouse. And for us, it's something we do naturally independent of each other. And so it makes a ton of sense to do it together. But you may know this, you may not. Kimberly also does most of my artwork. That's been huge for me too, because she understands what I'm going for, and I am not a visual artist in any way, shape, or form.
Just six figures.
Right. It's pretty badly, actually. And so Kimberly kind of completes the vision when it comes to my album art and not just my album art, but a lot of my graphic design and a lot of the image work across the board. So I wanted to ask her some questions, talk about photography and why that's important. Many of you know that it is, but maybe some of you don't. So just some quick acknowledgments. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Danielle, you're awesome. Greg Shaddix is on, and if you guys don't know, if you've never heard Greg Shaddix's music, go check it out. That guy is a hell of a songwriter, and I had a chance to play a show with him in Atlanta. It was pretty rad. So Greg's a good dude. Good to see you, Greg. And the Holtmans are on, and of course, Brother Doug.
Doug,
I'm not telling you what you're getting for Christmas.
I'll tell you, it's a bust of Johnny Cash, plated in gold. They sell them on the street here, everywhere. So that's what you're getting for Christmas.
Carmen, you're awesome.
It's hard.
It's hard work.
I'm trying not to pee my pants right now. It's just so hot. It's
awkward.
Wow. I knew I would be weird and awkward.
Yeah. Well, you nailed it.
You knew that I would be. Thank you, Danielle, for that.
Yeah, her work is incredible. And I'm kind of picky about visual stuff, mostly because I suck at it.
Well, you still have a vision in your mind, an idea. You've like a feeling. So
sometimes.
Yeah. Or if the image just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not what you were feeling.
Right.
It's my job to help bring those feelings out and figure out what works and what doesn't work.
Nice. Awesome. Okay, so question for Kimberly.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you.
Oh, you're asking me.
I'm asking you. What is, because there's a lot of different types of artwork. Mm-hmm. Mine obviously being music and obviously not being visual. What is unique about photography?
Well, he didn't pre-question me these questions.
Well, yeah.
So, let's see. What is unique about photography compared to other art forms? Mm-hmm. Well, your medium is everything that's outside of you. So, yes, you can do a lot of stuff in post, like in Photoshop, and you can do surreal things with it, but you're still starting with reality. And with visual art, for example, with like painters, they can just go directly to abstract and just do whatever. But with photography, you're starting with reality, and that's always going to be your starting point, is something that's actually real in the world. And I think that's really unique with creating art with photography, because that's the place you have to start from. You don't have a choice. It's a photo. So, yeah.
Right. So, one of the things that Kimberly loves teasing me about is my photography selection. It's gotten a lot better.
Do you mean like photos you take?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like what I choose to take pictures of.
Yeah. Like random electrical.
I took this awesome picture of a mountain. And it's a beautiful picture. The mountain was out and it was gorgeous. But I wasn't paying any attention to this transformer box, which is clearly in view below it.
It's like most of the photo is electrical box.
So
I didn't even notice the mountain. I was like, what are you taking this? What is this?
My good buddy Brett Thompson, who I do a lot of music with out in Greensboro, North Carolina, we showed up for a show and he'd actually printed it out and framed it for me.
In black and white.
It was pretty awesome.
It's going to go up in the house somewhere. We haven't figured out its place, but
right.
Super excited about that.
Okay, another question for you.
Yes.
In that vein, how do you know when you've captured something worthwhile?
Well, I mean, so that's more like taking photos by chance and then saying, oh, I got a good one. Mm-hmm. But for me, that's more documentary type photos. And for me, if it's a documentary photo, so not like a piece of art or like a piece of fine art that I've made, but I'm taking photos of an event or of whatever, how I know that that's like the thing that I've photographed is moving to other people, or like, oh, okay. Well, for me, how it makes me feel is really important. I think if something is moving me, then it'll probably move other people. But then also what it is that was happening in that moment. Because it's funny, there's like lots of little things where like everyday life, you can still really get some really cool I mean, I feel like captured moments is so cliche with photography, but that's essentially what you're doing. And being able to go back and look and see like an expression that you didn't notice before, or like lighting or whatever. I don't know. I think that all of that stuff comes into play to really make a photo, make you know you've caught something worth showing others or printing or whatever. I think there's a lot of different things, but mainly for me, it's how it makes you feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. What is the hardest thing? What is the hardest thing about being a photographer?
I think it's a two-pronged answer.
Okay.
One is like really the technical side of it, and like knowing your gear and really getting to know what you have, your lighting or whatever, and really understanding it and how to get it to do what you want it to do. And also like in post and Photoshop, really understanding. For me, I'm very right-brained. I'm not a technical left-brain engineer person. So it's really difficult for me when I can see something in my head, but it takes me a long time to figure out how to make that happen with my images. But I persevere and I learn, because when I did photography in college, and I learned on film, so that's how old I am. So I didn't learn Photoshop when I was learning photography, and that's just been something in the last, I think maybe 7 years that I've really been teaching myself and learning on my own. So that would be one part that's difficult, is just learning how to do all the things learning the skills to be able to do the things you see in your head and make them a reality. And then the other part of it is that your photography is just a saturated market. So it's hard to kind of eke out your own voice and to find your own voice and be, something different when there's 500 billion, million, cajillion photographers. I mean, everybody's a photographer, right? It feels like. And so that's another difficult part, is finding your voice and letting it be heard and having like a uniqueness to that and not drowning in a sea of photographers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to photographers that are just getting their start?
Yeah. It depends on how you learn, and it depends on your personality type. So if you're a left-brain person and you learn really well by reading and by looking at other people's photos and sort of reverse engineering how they did that, then follow that route. If you're more of a have to do it to learn it type of person like me, then you're just going to need to take lots and lots of photos. But for both of them, though, together, the thing that's the same is something that I learned from. Lots of photographers say this, but I heard it over and over again from John Keatley. Is find your own voice and find the thing that makes your perspective different. Either what surrounds you, if you are surrounded by by nature or whatever, and that's what pulls you, then be into that. But find your own way of expressing that. If you're in a certain type of community, especially if it's a marginalized community, work within that. If you have a specific sort of, for me, a lot of my artwork, my fine art, and my sort of commercial photography has more of a, I don't want to say darker bent, because I do have, my images aren't all necessarily dark and high contrast, but they have a more sort of emotional, serious vibe to them, and that just came out of me. So I had to shoot and come up with ideas and try different things and just do work, and work for me, not necessarily for anybody else. I asked friends who wanted to model for me, because people are really important. That's my thing, is people. So I had friends model for me, and we just tried different stuff. I came up with ideas, and then I tried them, and then I put them on my computer and I worked with them, and the photos that were boring that I'd seen 500 times, I tossed, and the things that I felt like said something or had something to say to the world, I edited. So yeah, find your voice, and but learn how it works for you first. Like, don't learn somebody else's way. Figure out your learning style. You can find any type of photography resources based off of your learning style. But if you're a right brain creative person like me, and you're trying to learn in a technical engineering type way, it's going to be hard for you, and it'll be discouraging. So find people who are like you and learn from them.
Yeah. All right. That's good.
I feel like I'm talking a lot.
So just be you, essentially.
Yeah. Good job, Lauren.
Yeah.
But sometimes you don't know yourself very well until you have done the work, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I have this side of me. These are the things that move me. This is what really excites me with my work. So then you kind of follow that path. So I learned a lot about myself in the last 5 years doing this sort of personal work and working with musicians to create stuff for them. So you don't always know yourself, but you'll learn.
Okay, so this one is kind of selfish in that it applies mostly to musicians, but why is, or how important is cover art for an album?
That's a really big deal for me. Cover art is super important to me, and I don't care what you do for it, if it's drawing or painting or graphic design or photography or all of it together. The thing for me about album art is the person who's doing your album artwork needs to have listened to that album, and they need to have sat down with you and gotten to know you and understood who you are, if you have a band, who your band is, what you stand for, what your whole point of doing this music thing is. And they need to know that in a really intimate way, and they need to know your music and what you want to say with your music, and so that they can properly translate that into a visual piece to then describe your album. And album artwork, I mean, not only is it in your physical copy, with your CD, but then it also can be bigger in like vinyl. So then you're going from something like this size to this size, right? So it has to translate there. But then people are also seeing it anytime they're listening to you digitally. So Spotify or iTunes or whatever, that's popping up on their phone screen. So they're going to see that thumbnail of an image that represents your music, not just your that album in particular, but also your brand and all the musicians involved. So that one little tiny piece of artwork is going to be associated with everything else with your band and with that album in particular. So if that album artwork doesn't match or doesn't fit up, or you didn't have any involvement in the creation of it, then it's not going to, maybe it'll fit, but that's going to be kind of lucky. So it's really, really important. Album art, cover art especially, is super important to me to really express your brand and that particular album. So yeah, whoever you're working with needs to know you and needs to know your music. and you guys need to sit down and have a conversation. I've talked to a few musicians who just hired somebody because they liked their artwork, and were kind of disappointed later because it didn't really mesh with anything, because the album art was really cool, but the people who made it didn't have any idea what the album was about or what the band was about or anything. So super important.
Yeah. Just responding to a couple of messages. Carmen, you're right. We haven't quite hung the album or the artwork yet. We've got a bunch of show posters and stuff, and of course Kimberly's work that we're going to be hanging up.
We're working on it.
And right there would be perfect.
That would be cool.
Casey, good to see you.
Hi, Casey.
Good to see you tuning in. Haven't seen you in a while, but miss you. Hope you're doing well.
Drive careful home from work, Doug.
I got one last question for you.
Okay.
And then I'll play another song.
Yay.
So one last question.
Okay.
Your work is incredible. How can someone work with you? What's the best way to get in touch with you to work with you?
I want to make a joke, but it just flew out of my head, so I'm going to just answer honestly. You can find me on Facebook under KL Loomis Photography. I found that not making it clear I'm a woman makes it a little bit more likely for me to get taken seriously in some areas. Yeah, KL Loomis Photography on Facebook. I'm working on my website, but I'm also working at other people's website and actually getting paid for that. So that kind of has come first. But you can email me too, Kimberly Lynn, Lynn, Loomis @gmail.com. Or you can reach out to Brad and he can get you my info too. So any which way,
cool.
Really, I'm easy.
Looks like there's a question, but they haven't asked the question. So
what is your question?
Feel free to ask.
Lauren Loomis, he's probably typing.
Probably. Well, I'm going to play one more song, and then that's it for the show. So tune in tomorrow at 7 Pacific Standard Time. And we will have the Christmas Slow Jam special. And stay tuned this week to find out when exactly Wintering Heart is coming out and how you can get your hands on it. Do you want to ask that?
What is the best way to advertise yourself? Social media is the jam now. Also, having a website where you're continually posting new work, either blog posts or blogs are really good because you're putting new content out all the time, and so it's good for SEO on like Google's. But yeah, make a Facebook page, have an Instagram specifically for your photography or your art that's separate from your personal stuff. And yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I feel like Twitter's more for like complaining about politics and learning from other people. I'm on Twitter because I learn a lot from people that I follow that are really smart people. But I don't really get much traction at all on Twitter. But visual places. So yeah, social media, Instagram, Twitter. Have separate from your personal accounts, and then yeah, a website with a blog is a really good way too, which I'm working on. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So one last shameless plug. There's still time to get your song of the month. Hop on board. There's a couple of different packages. If you go here, you'll be able to see how it all lays out. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. Pretty cost affordable. And you'll get some cool stuff. So I'm gonna play one more song, and
you hit me in the beat.
I know. You might want to pin that as the comment. First comment.
What?
This is a song by a good friend named Sarah Gerritsen. And it's a tune, one of my favorite songs of hers. It's called Dreamer, and hope you love it. If you like the song and you want to hear a better version of it, check out Sarah Gerritsen, her music, and the song's called Dreamer. So here you go. farmer, plant me a garden with weeds spun in fields full of gold. The blankets of them on me, fistfuls of ladies, and daggers of orange color, chariots in rows. If I was a pilot, I'd buy me an airplane, when I fly to the nations of the world, with wings for my father, homeland in Dakota, mama sky blue, Grecian waters for gold. There's a hole in the sky where the dreamers can hide, to the places they're longing to go. And if you're dreaming out loud in your hated cloud, find the dirt path, the graceland, follow that road. If I was a mighty, I'd love me and Dory, or to have and to emotionally go. And I tell her that the world made shadows and angels, and mirror reflections. You gotta pretend what they're told. If I was a writer, I'd write me a love song with ashes of burning soul, mountains of longing, valley of sorrow, 10,000 birds that would give me love more. There's a hole in the sky where the dreamers can fly, to the places they're longing to go. And if you're dreaming out loud in your hated cloud, I'm that dirt and the graceland, follow that road, follow that There's a hole in the sky where dreamers can hide, to the places they're longing to go. If you're dreaming out loud with your hated cloud, find that dirt path to Graceland, follow that road. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next Sunday, same time, 7 p.m. Thanks a lot. Tune in tomorrow. Christmas Slow Jams. All right.
With a Z.
Thanks a lot, guys.